Okay, so let's try that again, shall we? Sorry for the slight technical difficulties. I hope that we are actually live. I'm not seeing anything. There we go. If you're there, just pop me a quick hello or something. Thank you for joining me anyhow. So we're talking about this is Tuesdays with Manj. It's the fourth video, and this one is about trying to understand. Let's stop that. I'm going to get into that in a second of how we can do that and what the ramifications are of trying to understand. But before that, a quote, and this is by somebody who I have no idea, couldn't find who says it, but this is how it goes. Trying to understand what somebody's thinking is like trying to smell the color number 9. You get that, right? It's quite Douglas Adams. It's quite nonsensical, which is exactly what trying to understand what someone is thinking or trying to understand a situation when really we have no control over it. So, in having said that, I would love to ask you about just your day to day and what have you tried to understand anyone or anything? I'm sure you have. I mean, it's something that we do way more often than we're aware of. So I'm guilty as charged. I mean, it happened to me earlier this morning, trying to understand somebody, and I caught myself quickly and was able to snap back out of it. It's not always been that quick, though, I must say, quite honestly. Um, the very topic that I speak of, trying to understand, is one of the reasons why my marriage fell apart. Um, yes, it's absolutely true, and this is Uri and I. And this is just a few months ago that I'm talking about. Um, Now, that's another story altogether. Suffice it to say that we are very much together and things have happened to work out for us. And how did that happen? How have things worked out? Well, in hindsight, all I can tell you is that for me personally, it's been surrendering. Um, Now, what does that mean? That means just absolutely like dying to a situation, letting yourself completely go, going through the motions of death, of sadness, whatever it is, and just really detaching yourself. Um, not an easy process, and nor is it an easy practice. Um, but it's the very thing that brought the two of us back together. And I can say it was me. It was me trying to understand what was going wrong. What was, where was he at? What was he thinking? And da da da. It was, in a time of, um, I was falling apart myself. And he was very supportive. And eventually, what happened is I couldn't pull myself out of victim mode and started blaming and started pointing fingers. I came to Canada, a year I was there. We thought it was over. Despite the fact that we love and honor and respect each other throughout the whole thing, um, there was, we just couldn't see eye to eye. So there was a point at which I was probably a month after I got to Canada, we'd still been talking like sort of surface level, not like what's going on, nothing, just like really lovely friends. And then there came a point where we stopped talking altogether, and that lasted maybe a week or so. And it was actually me, where that was my time to die to the situation, to just, you know what, I love him to bits, but I can't control this. Don't want to change him. He's amazing the way that he is. And I let it go. And just on an aside, actually, I'll come back to that in a second. It took about 7 days for him to come back to me, and we both kind of went, "Wow, like holy crap, this has been huge. It's been really, really huge." And we slowly started to make our way back to each other. Our hearts were always connected. Um, but so going back to the understanding, when I stopped trying and when I just let it be the way that it was, oh God, it was um, it was the most special thing to see your partner for all their their best, at their best. Because this is the thing, when we're trying to understand somebody else, we're forgetting that they are doing the best that they can, right? And that's all any of us can do. And in trying to understand them, we're trying to change them, we're trying to manipulate them, we're trying to coerce them somehow. We're not accepting, respecting, honoring the exact person that they are. So whether it's, you know, something as lame as leaving the toilet seat up or something like that, or something huge that you just, you know, you've talked about a million times with your partner and he or she just doesn't get it, just doesn't get your point of view, why should they? Why should they? You know, you go back into you focus on yourself, you know, if you're angry at them, if you're trying so hard to understand something that they constantly do and they won't change, that's yours, baby. That's yours to turn around and accept and respect and honor your own feelings. So actually now I've told you that story, and what I'd love to do is kind of walk you through the ways of, you know, getting away from trying to understand and change and manipulate and all that kind of stuff, and come back to you. And how do you come to a place of peace within yourself? Because that's the most important thing, right? So how does that happen? And the first thing, as I already talked about, is surrender. Okay, so, and it's got to be absolutely conscious surrender, because yeah, you know, the words are flying around. You see the quotes all the time, let go, let God, just give up and let it be and blah, blah, blah. Those are all fine and well. And that's, you know, part of the way there. But you've really got to feel in your whole entire body what's going on. And like going back to Uri and I, it really felt like we were finished. Like that was the end, you know, and I was ready for that. I was ready to, you know, to just keep walking in my life without him as my husband. And thank God, I'm really pleased. God, please is not the word. Over the moon, that he's my man, that we're still walking hand in hand, heart to heart. So for all of you people, for anyone out there who's kind of going through the same thing, who's trying to understand their partner or whatever, let's do this. Let's talk about this. So talked about conscious surrender, like really going through, feeling it in your body, and you know, having death after death to whatever you're trying to understand. And then there's going to the second thing, and this is something I've mentioned already in my first video, which is feel exactly what you're feeling. And that's like, okay, so you're trying to understand someone. So how are you feeling about that? They're doing something that's bugging the fuck out of you, and you can't change it, no matter how nicely and politely you try, whatever, you can. So what do you do within yourself? It's a whole lot of well, it's conscious allowance of bitching. Remember, from a previous video, I was saying that you can allow yourself to hate, and I encourage you to use the worst language, and you know, take your feelings and like and make them like exaggerate. That's the word I'm looking for. Exaggerate your feelings. If you don't like what someone's doing, you're trying to understand it's not working for you, hate them in your mind, but use these words. I allow myself to hate this person right now. I allow myself to kick this person in the knee. I allow myself whatever you need to say in your mind. Now, this doesn't mean to say that these are things you're actually going to do, that you would do. But I'm telling you to get so ugly in your mind, in the temple of your mind only. Okay, because this is nobody's business. This is absolutely nobody's business how bothered you are by something or someone, whatever. It's not anyone's business. It's yours. And if you want to change your life, you deal with it. You deal with it on your own. Get conscious. Align with your source, whatever that may be, the universe, God, or mom, whatever you call your source. You align with yourself. You love yourself through it, so that for you, and in the end, what happens when you give yourself conscious permission to hate someone, to kick them in the knee, or whatever it is, your feelings, your attitude towards that person will change. then they will change. And ultimately you find that, like for myself and Uri, you find that the very thing that you wanted when you were going crazy and trying to understand and try to change and manipulate, the very thing that you wanted happens. And not only does it happen, like with Uri and I, we didn't come back the same. No way. You surrender, let the universe or God or mom or whatever you want to call it, you let your higher power take over, and all of a sudden you're resurrected. You are born again, and you come back like never before. Never before. Can't even begin to tell you the changes that we experience. So much love and honor and respect and support, all the things that we lost sight of for a short time, couldn't find, and then came back, and completely brand new. So again, that's a different video. I will do another video about that. But the other thing, so there's surrendering. There's the conscious bitching in your own mind, and then there's when all else fails, what do you do? When you can't, you just don't have the power to go through all of that, like I allow myself, blah blah blah. You know, what do? You turn back to yourself, my darling. You go back to you and just sit down, shut the lights, shut everything, shut the TV, shut the phone off, shut everything off. Just sit there, put your hands on your heart. Take a deep breath and say, I love you, over and over and over again. You know, I used to think food was the way. I used to think fitness was the way. Remember me? I was boot camp queen. I was saying exercise is the way to your endorphins and having the best life ever. And then I thought it was food. And you know, it was always something else. And now, like, where do you go but love? Where do you go? You know, and that's inside. You don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't actually need anybody else. Right? So when you start to align with you, your own heart, when you start to love fearlessly, when you connect with you, everything changes. Your whole world gets brighter. I promise you that. Try. And actually, if I may encourage you, if all you can do today, if all you can do is say, I love you over and over again to yourself, so be it. On the topic of trying to understand someone or something, if all you can do is just practice catching where you are trying to understand someone or something, if you just catch it 4 times a day, because I guarantee, I bet you're trying more often than you know, as I said before, to try to understand. So for now, just catch yourself. Just catch yourself, and then later on we practice. We practice when you're ready. When you're ready, you practice the I love yous, you practice the conscious bitching, whatever it is. For now, just observe. Be an observer to your mind. I think that's all. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. And actually, there's a special birthday today to my darling body, the young wise one, over in Juby today. God bless you. And happy birthday. Lots of love to you all, and take care of yourselves. See you next Tuesday. Goodbye.